Looking for an Imperial musician for a high-class restaurant? I think I have someone who'd like to take you up on that offer. I was wondering where he'd gone, but Olivier's actually here. However, he doesn't seem too interested in that restaurant, at least not yet. Anyway, welcome back to Trails in the Sky. Last time we took care of a few side quests over in West Bowes, and in fact, let's go ahead and report the results of those quests now. There's not like that much we'll get out of reporting them, but every little bit of extra mirror is nice to have. And where will I spend these hard-earned gains? Well, for one, at the market on more floral jelly, because that's a great healing item for this point in the game. But mirror isn't the only hard-earned gain that I got from all that, it's Seepeth, so I'm going to go ahead and open up a slot on Joshua here. This slot will enable him to use Shadow Spear, so against Shining Palms it will pretty much pay for itself. Also, Shadow Spear is going to be helpful where we're going. Anyway, I also have just barely enough to open one of the more isolated slots on Estelle's Ordnance. And... okay, the EP meters didn't actually update until I went into the menu. Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and heal to restore all of that EP. I'll be back here in a moment. Aw, Annalise isn't here anymore. Okay, all healed now. So, on Joshua's Orbment, I can actually remove Cast 1 from there and put it here, and that will give me Shadow Spear. And I think I'll fill this last slot with Attack 1. I actually want Firebolt on as many characters as possible where I'm going, because, yeah, you might think that in this next area there are going to be a lot of enemies weak to wind. Actually, no, most of the enemies here that are weak to something significant are weak to fire, and a lot of them are resistant to wind. Anyway, this is actually a new area, the new Ancel Path. This leads down to Valeria Shore, but we're not too concerned about Valeria Shore just yet. Joshua's pretty close to leveling up, that's why I'm fighting the enemies here. There's actually a new enemy type that can show up around here. This thing. Yep, yet another one of these Mist Puffer type things. Yep, it can delay you, it can cancel your spellcasting, it's pretty similar to the ones back in the Mistwalls. Okay, good, you got into Hellgate range. I think Hellgate might actually wipe them all out, except the Duskgeist does have very good arts defense. So maybe not, we'll see. Yeah, survived. One of the few things that can survive Hellgate decently well at this point in the game. But it's dead now. And we are replenishing a bit of Wind Seepeth that we spent earlier. And there we go, Estelle actually leveled up off camera on my way back to town, but I wanted to make sure to show Josh was on camera because he learns a new craft, Flicker. I suppose I can demo Flicker the next time I get into a battle, I guess against this thing, even though Flicker's not that great against this. Okay, didn't actually get to demo Flicker in that fight. We'll definitely be seeing it later though. It's one of Joshua's go-to crafts the rest of the game. So, down this path, we can follow this path all the way south to get to Valeria Shore, which we don't need to go to just yet. You can go there early, and there are some pretty useful food items that you can buy there, but we'll be going there later anyway. Well, what we actually want is this path right here, and hi. Oh yeah, these things can inflict a lot of really annoying status ailments on you, the roly-polies I mean. They can inflict seal, poison, and even confuse. Confuse in particular is pretty annoying, since it, you know, forces your characters to attack each other. Your own characters hit you very, very hard in this game. You can also fight boiled eggers over here. I'm actually going to go back to town to heal. Okay, so I'm back, and this way leads to Amberl Tower, another one of the 4 tetracyclic towers. I guess I can talk a little bit about the origin of the name. Tetra means 4, and cyclic obviously means circle. In the Japanese kanji that's used for that term, it literally means towers of the 4 wheels. Which is kind of interesting, but anyway, here we are at the entrance to Amberl Tower. Now, unlike the Esmelis Tower back in Roland's, this one is entirely optional. But if you want maximum BP, you have to go here around now. And you know you've done it right if you see a cutscene upon entering the tower. If you don't get this cutscene, you've been here too late. This hidden quest expires after the next major story event, which isn't talking to Niall, it's the next location that we have to go to after talking to Niall. So basically we want to take care of this one now. So this is Amberl Tower, the Earth one. Well, exactly, is kind of not exactly correct considering there are giant crystals in this one and everything is orange. And this is why coming here early is important. We won't actually meet this person here if we came later. That question mark exclamation mark means someone's probably in trouble on the higher floors. And Shara kind of leans on the fourth wall here. So, yes, now that we've seen this scene, if we look at our bracer book, we should have, yep, here we go, Amberl Tower Mystery. This is never posted on the bulletin board. You have to discover this one for yourself. Thankfully, the Sky games don't have a lot of hidden side quests like this. Cold Steel is really evil about that, though. I'll get to that when I cover that game. But anyway, let's explore the Amberl Tower. Here we have a green version of the Red Insectos. Guess what it's called? Yep, if you guessed Green Insectos, you'd be right. So these things are pathetically weak. They take double damage from all magic and they have really low stats. So now's the perfect opportunity to demo Flicker. Flicker costs 30 CP, so quite a bit, and it's a line-based AoE. Line AoEs are a bit awkward to use in the Sky games thanks to the grid-based system. Their hitboxes are also not nearly as lenient as circular AoEs, so don't expect to catch multiple enemies in these. But this attack is useful even if it only hits a single enemy. It can target anything on the field, its range, Joshua goes right back to his original position after using it, so you don't need to worry about how close he was to the enemy at all. And best of all, it inflicts delay on the enemy. This is our first delay attack that we have access to, and it's actually going to be very useful for pretty much the entire game. Delaying the enemy's turn is always amazing. And you might see that in action against some of the enemies later on in the tower. So I prefer to save my arts against Green Insectos. They're really not worth using your spells on.
Good to go.
I say that and I had to use an emergency art there just to save Joshua. Okay, healing up from that a little bit. And like I said, you got to be careful in these circular central areas because they love to hide enemies there. So if we go this way, we have a treasure chest. Tear Balm. There are 6 chests in this tower. It's empty, but you notice something carved on the bottom. It says, the secret password is Chairman Meow. I wonder if that's a localizer in-joke. Or whether it's a reference to another game, I'm not sure. I looked up Chairman Meow online, and the only thing that I could really find was, some cat from a cat gacha game. But I don't know if that has any relation to Falcom at all. Anyway, this is a new enemy type, and this is the main reason why I recommended not using your arts on the Green Insectos, because these things are almost immune to physical attacks. They have ridiculously high physical defense, but they're very weak to fire. Basically, you want to use either fire or time. Well, technically space and mirage, but time is the only non-elemental art that we have offensive skills of. This is a really cool enemy design, I find. Just that, like, it looks like it's implied that bubble is being generated by that sort of volcanic-like extrusion on its shell. And they look pretty funny when they get hit, too. Those things get pretty nasty in large groups though, especially since they're resistant to aerial, which is our most cost-efficient AoE attack at this point in the game. So here we are on the 3rd floor. Now, most paths here lead to the same area. We've got some stairs that head up on either side, but there's a third set of stairs that we want to take first that are right in the middle. Oh, okay, yeah, so these things can sometimes Zerg rush you as well. Yeah, let's just stand a little bit back with Joshua, and I want to see if I can catch as many of these as I can in an aerial. Yeah, I said before that you don't want to waste your art on these things. You do when there's this many of them. Because alone they're very weak, but in large groups like this, they're actually kind of a threat. They're definitely worth more to kill in large numbers, though. Okay, you please get out of the way. I think there's also okay, there's one of you here. There's a new type of pom that can show up here. Ah, there we go. You can see that right there, that pink-looking pom. I'll try and fight one of those before we're out of the tower. Let's not run, because I don't like being preemptive by those things, even though that's not really a word. Anyway, like I said, you want to head up the central stairs of the 4th floor first, because this leads to a little area that is pretty self-contained. And here is, okay, there's a lot more of them than I expected. Violet Pom has the ability to steal EP and your soul. Enough about that. Let's see if I can demo. Yeah, this is why line-based AoEs, like I was saying, their hitboxes are not nearly as lenient as circular AoEs. Can't quite get the Pom in that, unfortunately. But at least these things are so weak that even Hurricane does good damage to them. It's not often that you get to say that. Okay, they're all getting closer. I was gonna need to heal Estelle, but then I realized that you guys would make my job easier and not attack her. Yeah, you definitely want to take the opportunity if you do get a chance to hit multiple of them in one go, but you don't want to count on being able to do that at all. Okay, if I do this Hurricane, I will probably need to heal Estelle with Shara next turn. Speaking of Shara, well, I don't have all that much to say at the moment. I guess I can go into a slight tangent and talk about how... So, yeah, given Shara's S-Craft, a lot of people have been worried that she's going to be kind of like a Camilla character who only exists for fan service. She does have a lot of personality beyond that, and honestly, some of her interactions at the very beginning of the game are a little out of character. But I admit she's not my favorite character in these games. I don't think she's a terrible character, but there are other people that I like a lot more than her. Such as one that we've actually already met, and you might be very confused if you're new to this series as to why I like Olivier more than her, but, well, yeah, give it time. That's all I'll say for now. I did allude to this, but many characters in this series are a lot more than they appear. Okay, we've already gone through a full loop of the battle theme. That almost never happens. Let's try and get a Dual Strike on one of them. Dual Strike is still pretty strong against enemies that have low physical defense, so... This is actually part of why I'm playing on hard, not Nightmare, because I find that the higher you go up in terms of the difficulties, the worse physical attacks get compared to magic. That's kind of a thing with hard modes in most games, well RPGs in particular, is hard modes always tend to exacerbate any balancing issues in the game. In this game, arts are definitely better than standard physical attacks. Stop missing, please. But physical attacks, like, the imbalance isn't that extreme, but it definitely gets more extreme as you go up into the higher difficulty levels. So, yeah, I have kind of been spamming arts for a lot of this game. I've also completely lost track of my positioning. Yeah, so this is why I wanted to take the middle path first, because all it leads to is this chest. Fried eyes and eggs. I don't know why I say that with a weird accent, but yeah, that's a new recipe. Limit, 1 per adventurer, dev team. That's probably one of the funnier chess quotes so far, but I have said, yeah, I feel like the chess quotes got a lot funnier in the second game. Apparently the chess quotes were a lot drier in the original PSP localization. I never actually played that version because I never owned a PSP. Going into that would be a whole nother issue. One of these days I might talk about that, but yeah. I guess it's just that they're really, like, the only game on PSP that I was at all interested in was Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep, so yeah. I'm always interested in consoles more for the games on them than for the consoles themselves. So if there's no games that I like on a console, I just won't get the console. Simple as that. Okay, so let's head up here. Both of these stairs will give you access to the same kinds of areas. Yeah, gonna save EP there. Don't head up to the 5th floor just yet, though. So from there we get a reviving balm. It's empty. Curses! That's kind of an in-joke with me. It actually comes from, I think, the website for one of the old Barbie movies, which my sister used to watch, actually just for so bad it's good reasons. And, yeah. Though I recently found out that, that Erica Lindbeck actually voiced Barbie for a while. And her Barbie voice is surprisingly terrifying. Yeah, watch that episode of Name Drop on Critical Role if you want to hear her Barbie voice. But I warn you, it's terrifying. Okay, that's where I came in. I think I need to go this way to access the stairs. No, I used those were the stairs that I used last time. Yeah, this is why, like, in the side of the tetracyclic towers, having the map always pointed north is not always a great idea, because often these places are easier to navigate if you spin the camera around freely, but it also makes it hard to tell where you've already been when you're not always having the map in the same position. But anyway, this leads to another chest, another tier bar. Do-do-do-do. Don't touch it! It's empty. Yeah, I amuse myself way too much with those chess messages. That harkens back to Sonic 06, which has an amazing line by Shadow. But anyway, so now we're on the 5th floor. So, remember what I said about not wanting to go up to the 5th floor just... So remember what I said about being careful on the 5th floor? After we go across these wooden walkways, I kind of wonder who put these there. Maybe earlier researchers who were investigating this place. Yeah, right here. Here is where you need to be very, very careful, because the moment that you enter the middle part of this floor, we'll get into a forced fight. I actually let this surprise me on my first playthrough, so I recommend that you learn from my mistakes. Yeah, Shara's a little hurt too. Maybe I'll use some EP to heal. Okay, here we go. Yep, guess who? It's our old friend, the Nutty Professor. And he's about to be attacked by bubble turtles. So it's Braces to the rescue once more. Thankfully, he's not an NPC in this fight. Let's see, I think, yeah, Fireball. Firebolt's good. Right now, EP Cut 1 is only saving 1 EP for those low-tier arts, but it does add up sometimes. For you, I think, actually, you will heal, because you don't have any fire arts. I guess right here, I probably won't get much of an opportunity to talk about this, but fire is kind of interesting. Its offensive arts kind of get worse as you go through the game. Firebolt is decent against enemies weak to fire, and overall, I don't think fire is quite as bad as Earth in terms... Actually, wait, it's kind of hard to tell, because Earth has a lot of really bad arts, but it also has one of the best single-targeting arts in the game, whereas Fire's equivalent of second-tier arts are actually weaker than most others. They're easier to get in terms of the elemental requirements, that probably makes up for it, but they're kind of weak for their EP cost and just overall efficiency, and their late-game arts are pretty bad in terms of EP per damage. In fact, I find Fire just kinda sucks in general in this game, at least past the very early game, because Earth at least has the best support art in the entire game, which you'll hopefully be seeing a little bit later in this chapter, but even Fire's buffs aren't that great. The best it has is a single target strength buff. Which, honestly, Estelle's Motivate outclasses that, and that's available from the very beginning of the game. But yeah, Shara wasn't introduced to this guy before. It's a small world, we keep running into people that we know. Yeah, I guess he was just talking to himself. But at least we heard him. Who knows what would have happened if we didn't realize he was in distress. True words have never been spoken, Shara. Although Olivier's crazier more often than most people. Also, Shara's pretty great here. She knows how to get someone to agree to a job. And so, we have an NPC with us, unfortunately. I say unfortunately, because there are 2 treasure chests here and both of them contain robber trappers. Now, if I'm remembering right, this chest only has 1 robber trapper in it, so I want to take that one on first. While we're here, let's heal Estelle. And let's also make a save here. So, robber trappers. Obviously, you know there must be something good in this chest. These robber trappers are particularly weird. They seem to be very resilient to most attacks, even arts. They barely take much damage from anything. So, yeah, they can be tough to fight. I would recommend using time-based arts against them because they have no other weaknesses and Fate can be useful. Then I don't want to save my AoEs for the next robber trapper fight. Now, these ones cast... Oh, great, they're going for Alba. This is why I don't like the fact that he's with us right now, but what can you do? I think I'll actually just go for another attack on this thing. Alba can take 1 hit from them. But if I get Fate here, that'd be... Yeah, see, they are very resilient. They've got some of the highest defenses of anything we've fought so far in this game. And there's Fate, good. So the art that it was trying to cast is Earthlands, which is actually the aforementioned most efficient single targeting spell in the game, tied with the one for water. Yeah, this is actually why I wanted to get Shadow Spear, because Shadow Spear's 20% chance of instant death actually does work on robber trappers. As for Shara, I think I'm actually gonna save her stuff. Like, I think at the moment, I just want to spam Shadow Spear and hope for the best. It does have kind of an overly long animation, and in particular, its sound effects get really messed up if you press the turbo button. So I don't really like turboing through its animation, but I guess we'll see. Yeah, like I said, I mainly just kind of want to spam Shadow Spear here. Did not get it the second time. And it's back up again. You know what? Let's actually try Morale.
Come on.
Oh, I called it Motivate before. That's actually the equivalent skill from Cold Steel. Earthlands does a heck of a lot of damage, though. And I may need to use a Floral Jelly right now. You know what? Let's actually get Fried Eyes and Eggs' recipe out of the way. As horrifying as it sounds. Okay, good. Whatever I do, I'll push you out of that 10% strength turn. Huh, looks like Motivate actually does buff magic. That's interesting. Shadow Spear definitely wasn't doing that much before. You know, I think I went 2 whole playthroughs without ever realizing that. Yeah, it is definitely buffing magic if the difference in damage is that big. At least I think it's that big. Maybe it has more of an effect when you're using Shadow Spear. I guess I'll try Shadow Spear again. I don't want to use a physical attack with Estelle here because it will explode, and the explosions of these things do about 250 damage or so, so Yeah, you don't want these things exploding in your face. Oh, right, okay, my buff wore off. That's why I'm doing less damage all of a sudden. Should have paid more attention to that. Yeah, let's wait until the cell can get morale back up. And let's see how much Flicker does with a buff and a 10% strength turn. Quite a lot! So yeah, buffs actually do make a pretty big difference to the damage you do in this game, given the formulas.
We're good to go.
And you dropped a nice amount of Seepeth too. Emerald Talisman. That's just like the Topaz Talisman earlier, though. Weirdly, we picked that up in the region where the Emerald Tower was, and we're getting the Emerald Talisman in the place where the Topaz Tower is. The chest is empty. How depressing. But yeah, that makes your attack and defense wind-based. But anyway, I need to definitely heal before this next one, because that was one Robber Trapper. And next we'll be dealing with 3 Robber Trappers of the exact same variety. However, these ones are all positioned to be in range of Hellgate, so yeah, Hellgate can hit all 3 of them, and that's part of the reason why I wanted to save Joshua's EP for now. And yeah, let's actually go for morale too. I can't believe I didn't realize this buff magic before. Okay, nobody is doubling up on Alba, that's good. However, somebody has a critical turn. I'm gonna have to swipe that with Shera. Okay, somebody got hit with Feint. You have to wait for 1 to go, and then I will go for Shera. Okay. Okay, good thing I S-braked with her, and let's see. I think I can actually take out the one that's casting currently. Yeah, definitely. Strength buffs are also really good with S-Crafts, but that was probably obvious. And you're inflicted with Feint. Now, since the middle one is gone, I now can't catch both of them in Hellgate, but that doesn't matter, because I don't have enough EP left for Hellgate anyway. Come on, I can get instant death at least once in this fight. Or at least once in this tower. Nope! Still fainted. You know what? I'm just gonna set morale back up again. No, I'm not, because otherwise Shera will die. I'm gonna use Floral Jelly. Thankfully, Earthland doesn't have, like, a secondary chance of Petrify or anything, because if it did, yeah, that would be really bad. Okay, Joshua's still motivated, which means I can go for Flicker. And yeah, in the absence of Art's cancelling abilities, you can use Flicker to delay the turns of enemies who are casting. Yeah, I keep calling it Motivate. Again, that's my Cold Steel route showing. Yeah. Morale definitely helps your damage dealers. Unlike in Cold Steel, though, you can't stack buffs in this game. Whenever you use a new buff on the same stat, it overwrites the previous buff, even if it was worse. Yeah, buffs work quite differently in Cold Steel, but again, it's kind of not my place to talk about that just yet. Yeah, you don't want to know how little damage physical attacks do to these things if you're not buffed, by the way. Let's just see if we can finish this thing off quickly. Soul Blur, I guess. Huh, this fight went a lot more smoothly than I thought, and that's partly because I completely underestimated morale. I should be using that more often. And Shera levels up. Just in time, too. I think her EP was getting kind of low. And this is why I didn't buy a new suit of armor for Joshua back at town, Chainmail. The chest is empty because someone came and took the stuff out. You wouldn't know who did that now, would you? The chainmail, though, makes me think. I think there was like a... I think, you know what? I think it was actually Tecmo Secret of the Stars that mistranslated chainmail to chain nail. M-A-L-E, as in the gender. Yeah, that's pretty great. Okay, so we can actually go up here, which leads to the roof. We don't need to go to the roof. All we need to do is escort the professor down to the bottom of the tower, and that counts as completing the side quest. But while we're here, we can just check out this device. It's still as inoperable as the other one. Now let me quickly check. I know I've got a lot of the chests. Have I got them all? Okay, we've got Chairman Meow, Don't Touch It, Curses, 1 per Adventurer, Depressing, You Wouldn't Know Who Did That. Yes, I do list these in my notes based on their chest quotes. That should be all 6 of them. And that means we've done everything we can here, so let's head back out. If I can find the way to get downstairs. Oh, actually, here's another use for delay. Yeah, I mentioned earlier in the game that delay is an amazing effect. It has so many potential uses. So, one of the Poms is about to get a critical turn. And I don't well, I mean, I could, and I don't have enough EP to cast an art to try and push it out of that turn. But what I can do is, I can hit it with delay, and that pushes it out of the critical turn, and pushes one of my characters onto the critical turn. Again, delay has so many uses. Oh crap. Okay, so as you can tell, getting a preemptive strike against you when you have an NPC in your party is really, really bad. Yeah, I should be paying more attention here and trying not to run. I'm just gonna show this just because it's amazing. Yep, they clumped together to the point where I could hit all of them with aerial. And everything dies. Mass devastation all round. Okay, here we go, back on the first floor. There we go, we're out to safety. Amberl Tower is completed. It's really not that bad of a dungeon if you know what you're doing. You just want to be careful while you're escorting Professor Alba out, because yes, preemptive strikes against lots of green insectos tend to end badly. Worry, I get the feeling his funds are not going to be permitting anytime soon. I get the feeling we will. Estelle, you must not have met very many academics. That is true, though. Yeah, he did manage to get all the way up to the 5th floor by himself. And that completes that quest. So, yeah, that's all we need to do over at Amberl Tower. So I think that's as good a time as any to end this part. So, I will see you on the next installment of Trails in the Sky.